And welcome back, folks. It's that time, last Wednesday of the year. Of the year, last Wednesday of the month. And actually, ironically, it's the last day of the month too, so it works out great. I already just did the speed round, which was the shorter of two, because I knew I'm going to be talking for at least an hour and a half with this. I've got my customary adult beverage to, signal it is the time. I also got a haircut. You can see my hair's a little different at the moment. Um, Now, normally I would actually be drinking something a bit more citrusy, something a bit more cold. I have I've said it before, but there's a variation on a mule I like to do. I have the mule cups. You don't have to do it in mule cups, but basically you do crushed iced in the cup. You do about ounce and a half to 2 ounces of gin. You do an ounce of lime juice. You do about almost a full ounce, about 3/4 of an ounce of a cherry liqueur. I have cherry hearing, and then you top it off with ginger ale, not ginger beer. It is refreshing as hell. It is wonderful, but for just not because I'm in any health trouble or anything like that, just to try to be a little healthier. Once a year, I do an extended sugar cleanse, so where I don't eat or drink any processed sugar, so no soda, no like cookies or candies or chocolate or anything like that. And I've been doing pretty well, but that means I'm not making a beverage like that this time around. So going with my Macallan 16. Oh, that's a decently priced bottle, so I don't break it out very often. But for the Q&As, I'll definitely break it out. So without further ado, let's just get into this, shall we? I've got a butt ton of questions from a butt ton of you guys. You guys are a ton of butts, but I love you. No, sorry, you're a ton of butts, and I love it. And you know what? Let's actually start from the bottom up instead. How about that? And oh dear God, oh dear God, Darth Vader. All right then. Hello, Clarice. Please tell me you recognize the line. I detest having to explain fine cuisine to the uncultured. Look, dude, you're talking. I know you're making a joke, but you're talking to a movie buff here. You don't think I know? Hello, Clarice. God, no. Shame on you, Vader. Shame on you. Of course, I know that. As I noticed, your entertaining questions once again. I'm sorry, your entertaining questions once again. How charming. And with Mother's Day drawing near, that's right, it is drawing near. What better time to reflect on the delicious complexity of morality, legacy, and madness? Allow me to serve you 6 exquisite courses, each just with the right balance of flair, blood, and brains. Bon appetit! Well, let's see what you had to serve up. Course 1. Which detective has the mind to catch Light Yagami? Light, so clever, so young, and so arrogantly divine, a cat-and-mouse game of ideology and ink. Who among this buffet of sleuths would expose the god behind the notebook? Contenders in their vintage. Lou Harper, 1966. Couldn't tell you that one. I'm gonna be right honest with you. Some of these I'm just not gonna know. But Lou Harper, don't know that. Scott Ferguson, Vertigo, Brilliant but Broken. He wouldn't figure it out. Jake Peralta, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Keanu Reeves, Golden Heart. That's tricky because he can honestly make connections in weird circumstances, but because he's so immature, I'd probably say no. Gil Grissom, probably not. No, from in CSI. Richard Castle and Kate Beckett, no. See, the problem immediately is figuring out who Light. I'm going to stop right here too, just for a minute. Figuring out who Light is would take probably you actually interviewing him, talking to him, and just figuring things out, and then assuming you don't get killed. That, or you're gonna have to have the best kind of investigative tools on call, and that's just not a lot of these characters. Mabel, Oliver, and Charles, only murders in the building? No. Jonathan and Jennifer Hart, Heart to Heart. I don't know who those are. Pierre Maldonado and Sam Eckold, American Vandal. Sadly, don't know who that is either. Nick and Nora Charles, the Thin Man films. Don't know who those are. Eddie Valiant, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's what you might think I'm crazy for, but that's a weird maybe. If he's back, if he's off the sauce and all that, maybe. Only because he actually is very much he's on the ground a lot of the time, and he can make the connection through because he does like study a lot. Well, study from what we saw, he does have his office. He does look through things. I don't know. That one feels like a weird one, but maybe. The Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew. Well, of course, because they're the Hardy Boys and Nancy. I don't believe they would, but who knows? The Raylan Givens, Justified. Okay, I believe that is the guy who not Nick Offerman, but Timothy Olyphant plays, right? That's actually maybe. That's a maybe, because if worst case scenario he figures out what's going on, like somehow he's killing people with his book, he'll draw his gun on Light before he has any moment to actually kill him. Kojak from 1973 to 78. Kojak. Mike Hammer, Kiss Me Deadly. I doubt it. Will Graham from Hannibal. Will Graham, Hannibal. For My Dearest Creation. Is that Will Graham? Hannibal 2013 to from the TV series. I forgot they did a TV series. I didn't watch the TV series, couldn't tell you. Crockett and Tubbs, Miami Vice, probably not. Sean and Gus, Psych. Yeah, actually, that's a maybe. That one's a legit, because honestly, it's fake psychic, but it's because he's just really good at details. So that one I actually would have to give a maybe. Clarice Starling, probably not. Maddie and David, Moonlighting, I don't know who that is. And Adrian Monk, maybe. Who sees the God complex for what it is and dares to play God back? Yeah, it wouldn't be a lot of them, but again, maybe Monk, maybe Sean and Gus, maybe Raylan, and weirdly enough, maybe Eddie. And I will throw Jake in there because he can put the pieces together out of context sometimes, so maybe. So second course, which killer makes even better prep time Batman sweat? What makes even prep time Batman sweat? You know, Batman obsessive, precise, haunted, but some monsters just aren't just muscle, they're myth. Even the Bat can't outplan. Even the Bat can't wow, go straight. Slow your roll for a second. Even the Bat can't outplan what he doesn't understand. I think that was the problem, that they all kind of started to rhyme a little bit. Okay, so if we're talking even with prep, are any of these characters Batman is afraid of and wouldn't want to tangle with, or is at least scared of to go for it? Patrick Bateman, no. Jack Torrance, no. Jigsaw? Jigsaw's... If we're going for a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is absolutely and 1 is basically no, maybe like a 2 or a 3. Because now you're getting into Criminal Mastermind, where the other two are just psychotics. Jason Voorhees, we're talking with prep. Batman's just wearing a bat armored suit, like one of his more heavier armored suits to go up against Jason. No, he's fine. Pinhead is one where, yes, that's someone that Batman would be legitimately, even with prep, legitimately concerned about, and has to make sure the lament configuration does not fall into the wrong hands. Chucky is just a doll. Yes, the voodoo is something he can worry about a little bit, but really, it's not that big a deal. Amanda Young saw the one who followed in his footsteps, like the successor. No, he's probably a lesser version of it. Art the Clown, he's not human, he's a demon, but Batman's frankly not that scared of demons. He'd plan around them, no doubt. Michael Myers, again, no real issue. Bill Loomis from Scream, God, no, he's just a kid. Angela Baker, Sleepaway Camp, nope, still no. Ghostface, still no. Reagan, I assume we're talking about possessed Reagan. He calls in Constantine. Because if we're talking about prep to Batman, he's calling Constantine in for that. Or someone. Annie Wilkes, Misery, nope. Red and Adeline, from Us. The duplicates. No, unless, because you're not asking for Bruce's duplicate, you're just asking for a duplicate. Norman Bates, again. Patrick Bates and Norman Bates. Both knowing that. And Leatherface, no, not really. Can Batman outthink the unthinkable? Yeah, no. Or does that break, the Bat break? No, Batman's not breaking against any of these, because you're saying with prep. So without prep, he would certainly struggle more against a couple of these guys. In fact, he might even have to retreat against Jason from the first encounter. And Pinhead, he does not want to go against if he doesn't have to. But if we're talking about with prep, Batman would take every one of these guys. That's just the way Batman is written. Third course, who is cinema's worst mother? Mothers give life and sometimes take it. Some smother, some abandon, others, well, they create monsters. All right, who's the worst mother here? Candidates for Mother of the Year from Hell, Pamela Voorhees. She's not a bad mother. Sorry, she's not a bad mother. She's like goes psychotic and kills people, making her a bad person. But that's in defense of her kid being killed by careless, horny teens. So she's not on there. Kate McAllister, Home Alone, she forgot her son twice. Okay, but you're comparing her to a killer. So no, if Pamela Voorhees is not on here, Kate's not on here either. Stifler's mom, no. Annie Hamilton, The Notebook, manipulative with a smile, not really. Again, we're talking about let's be fair. If we are talking about as a mother, I did bring that up. Okay, so maybe then Kate is a little bit worse than Pamela, but not by much. Stifler's mom is a MILF who's just having the time of her life. Her son was already a horny teen. It didn't matter. So no, she's not a bad mom in that sense. Granted, she is letting underage kids have like keggers and all that. So, okay, you know what? Actually, I'll take that back. And she's banging not an underage kid, but a just barely aged kid. So, you know what? Stifler's mom's in the lead now. Annie Hamilton, though, being manipulative to hurt your daughter. Yes, that makes her worse, I think, maybe by a little bit when you're screwing with your kid's life. But to be fair, The Notebook, I'm sorry, is not a good movie. And because that is a terrible relationship, and the mom actually has every right to keep those two apart. So actually, you know what? No, I'm still putting Stifler's mom in the lead. Beverly Stuplin from Serial Mom. Okay, she's immediately a serial killer. So that means, yeah, no. Petunia Dursley. She's a bad mom for spoiling her kid too much, but doesn't beat a serial killer. Lady Tremaine from Cinderella, the original. She might not be a killer, but she is damn near real close. Eleanor Chris from Kindergarten Cop. Her. Yeah, no, she's probably even worse than even just a standard serial killer, because we are still looking at them as parents. And beyond being a serial killer, I don't know much about how she was as a mother, serial mom. Mrs. Robson, The Graduate, is literally the original Mrs. Stifler. Stifler's mom. Margaret White, and the Evil Queen. The Evil Queen's not Snow White's mom, so that doesn't count. Margaret White, though. Oh, God. Ugh. You know what? I got to go with Carrie's, but I got to go with Margaret White on that. She is one of the most loathsome characters in film history, which tells you that actress did a good job at the role. So fourth, which teacher would you willingly surrender your mind to? The finest educators don't just teach, they transform. Sometimes gently, sometimes with fire. Okay, so basically you're saying, who would I surrender my mind to? Who would I let them basically mold me into kind of what they want me to be? All right, Miss Honey Matilda. That's a good one. John Keating, though, I love. God rest Robin Williams. That's probably the next best one up there. Edna Krabappel, The Simpsons? No, probably not. Mr. Miyagi? Ooh, that's a good one. So right now it's between Keating and Miyagi. I mean, wisdom and martial arts, I might go with Miyagi. To be fair, though, wisdom or martial arts, I might go Miyagi. Will Schuster, Glee, don't watch Glee, so I wouldn't know. Ricky Brathlot, To Sir with Love. I've heard it, but I don't. Oh, wait a minute. Is that what I don't remember that one. Sorry. Walter White, Breaking Bad. No. Sisters Michael, Dairy Girls. Don't know that one. Miss Frizzle. Man, I wish I had to be honest, I kind of did have a Miss Frizzle, and I was too stupid in elementary school to really recognize it. But Miss Frizzle is a good teacher. So right now it's probably between either Miyagi but do I like her more than Keating? No, I don't like her more than Keating. Honestly, I like Keating more. So I'm still leaning towards Miyagi, but Keating could make it by the end here. Miss Brody from The Prime Princess. I don't know who that one is. Mr. Feeney's so fucking good, though. You can't be throwing Feeney out there. McGonagall, no. I mean, yeah, she could teach me magic. That's assuming I'm inclined for magic. But no, you can't throw Mr. Feeney in there. I love Boy Meets World. Absolutely, I love it. I grew up watching Boy Meets World. Jamie Escalate, Stand and Deliver. I don't know. That's not true. I think I vaguely remember that one, but not for context. Dewey Finn. No, Dewey Finn's cool, but he's not. I wouldn't want them to mold me. Miss Bliss from Good Morning Miss Bliss. Again, I vaguely pre-Zach Morris. Mr. Feeney. It's between Mr. Miyagi, Mr. Feeney, and John Keating. Who do I want to mold me the best? Oh my God, that's a Sophie's choice. Miyagi can teach me martial arts. Mr. Feeney is like literally life lessons that, literally just heart to heart kind of stuff. And Keating is the same way, but from a slightly more poetic standpoint and philosophy standpoint. God damn. You know what? I gotta go with Mr. Feeney. Mr. Feeney is kind of the neighbor I would have always wanted to grow up next to, and kind of the teacher I would have wanted. So yeah, all right then. So that's number 4. Number 5. Fifth course, L versus L from Death Note versus John Lieberman from Monster. A pure clash of mental titans. One fights for justice and cakes and hunches. With cakes and hunches, the other annihilates with the face of an angel and the soul of a demon. Who falls first and whose philosophy survives the fall? It'd probably be L, because L figured out the light case. But then, if I remember correctly, he did ultimately figure it out. And if he can figure that out, he could get Johanna incarcerated. Absolutely, he could. Johanna is just human. Yes, he's a monster, but he's not an actual, literal, supernatural creature. He's just a horrible, horrible human being, if you want to call him that. So no, it would definitely be Light who wins that. And finally, 6th course, Deadshot versus Kuro Sensei in Assassination Classroom. The world's deadliest marksman, armed and focused, but his target moved at Mach 20 and teaches calculus for fun. Can Floyd Lawton land the shot, or does Kuro Sensei school him instead? Thank you, Clarice, for your intellectual nourishing. I await your replies in anticipation. Would you care if I dessert something cerebral or something rare? To answer your question, could Deadshot kill Kuro Sensei? Assuming he's got an antimatter bullet. He'd need a weapon that could fire. And then in DC there are weapons that can fire at like Mach 20 speeds or whatever. So if he had a specialized gun that could catch Kuro Sensei, sure, he could land a shot. Does he? That's a different question entirely. So I'm going to go saying no, because you're going to have to go through a lot of hoops to land a shot on him. All right, Master of Gaming, 1 of 5. Okay, why did Blue Beetle flop despite having good reviews? Is it because superhero fatigue? I thought moviegoers said they wanted more good superhero movies. Okay, so that is not superhero fatigue. The reason Blue Beetle failed is because the entire DCU was just failing. It was a sinking ship, and it was going fast. The last big hit we had was Aquaman. That was the last true win for the DCEU. Then you had Shazam, which actually did make some money, but only made like $300 some odd million. Then you had Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey, and then Shazam, one or the other. Harley Quinn, which did not make money, lost money. And after that, Black Adam didn't even make any money. You had Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad. Wonder Woman was really Suicide Squad was really well reviewed, by the way. Another one they came out during the pandemic. And at that point now, it's like people just were looking at this like the quality isn't there. They are just too inconsistent. The Flash had bombed. It has nothing to do with the quality of the movie, which is a good movie. I like Blue Beetle quite a bit. It's the fact that it is just it's not superhero fatigue. It was bad movie fatigue. The fact that there was no real plot to the DC universe. There was no real plan. They were trying to kind of have Zack Snyder be the shepherd of it, and that failed. So yeah, it's has nothing to do with the quality of the movie. It has everything to do with people had just grown tired of the DCEU, not comic book movies, because a lot of Marvel movies were still doing better than that. Excuse me. Hell, the worst Marvel movie, kept the Marvels, which only made in the low 200s, still outperforms this. Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman 2. So yeah, it's and Shazam 2. So yeah, again, nothing to do with the quality. It has everything to do with with just the state of that universe. Why did the first Omen and Abigail flop despite great reviews? Is it because of horror fatigue? I thought moviegoers wanted to see good horror movies. So basically, we're going to repeat the same question, but for horror movies. Let me actually get the Rotten Tomatoes up there to be sure on that. See, this is not a case of horror movie fatigue. Because there's no such thing as any movie fatigue, really. It's a matter of quality movie fatigue. People are tired of mediocre. Okay, so let me just Abigail, I know for a fact, had good reviews. But let me see what Omen, what was it? Omen, the first Omen? The first Omen. Hold on. What was the Rotten Tomato score on that? Come on now. Come on, you can do it, box office. You can do it, Rotten Tomatoes. You can do it. I believe in you. Do you believe in yourself? I believe in you. Come on, guy. I believe in you. Don't fight over me. Let's see here. All right. Okay, the first Omen. Because again, I know Abigail actually had a really solid. Yeah, the first Omen had 83%. So yeah, it did have good reviews. But first off, the critic reviews don't really count for why a movie flops. That's more the audience reviews because that's where the buck is coming from. Honestly, this is just more, I think people just don't care about the Omen. I just don't think people care about that franchise. That's more of not caring about the IP, I think. As for Abigail, I think people just saw it as another vampire flick more than a more unique take on it. So, yeah, that would be my thought process on that, about why those movies flopped. It's the same reason, but then again, the reason other horror movies flop is because they're just not as good. Wolfman, I contend, isn't bad, just a disappointment. But then you get Woman in the Yard. You also had like Imaginary last year, with The Strangers, first one. So yeah, it has nothing really to do with this one is not about a universe failing or a genre failing. It's more about the type of movie they were, and within that genre, and probably people just not being all that interested. Number 3, why do movies based on intellectual properties tend to do better at the box office than original movies like Sinners post-pandemic? Let me see if I got that concept right. By the way, this is all my speculation. I don't have a firm answer, like a legit answer. Why do movies based on intellectual property tend to do better at the box office than original films like Sinner post-pandemic? Well, Sinners isn't based on intellectual property, and it's doing very well. But if you're talking about like intellectual property, like Minecraft, technically is intellectual, but it's based off an intellectual property. So you're asking, I'm guessing, why do movies based on things do better at the box office most times post-pandemic than movies that are more original that don't have any existing source material? The answer is actually literally in the question, is because it's recognizable. People want to see clearly want to see original things. Sinners is a great example. Sinners is not blowing at the box office, but is clearly doing fantastic for what it is. So there's that. But people do go comfort and flock towards familiarity. And what's the best way to put it? When a property comes out that's entertaining enough and we recognize it, we go and support it more and more because we enjoy our comfort foods. That's not to say we won't go out and support an original movie once in a while. But unfortunately, when people say there's no original movies coming out, yes, there are. There's plenty because there's more movies being made than any time ever. But you fuckers don't go see it. Case in point. It's like, well, what? There's no original movies. No King was original concept. No one went to go see that. Well, but there's no more original movies. Oh, really? Companion's an original movie. No one went to go support that. At least no one really went to support that. I saw both those movies, liked them both. So it's, again, you don't get to complain about original movies if you're not going out to see the original movies. But yeah, it's because comfort. We go to things we're familiar to because it's more comforting. All right, 4. Do you think Thunderbolts will be a surprise hit both critically and commercially? Well, we do have the numbers out right now. Rotten Tomatoes, it comes out at 89% right now. Rotten Tomatoes, that's the highest a Marvel film has been in a while. So right out the gate, surprise hit critically. Yeah, not even surprise hit. I think it was an expected hit. Everything we've been hearing about this film is fantastic, and the actual reviews coming out now back that up. It is great. It is wonderful. Commercially, that's going to be more tricky, like how well it performs at the box office. Because right now it's being estimated between like 70 and 85 million. I'm thinking it might overperform a little bit. But do I think it's going to be like an overall success commercially? Yes, I do think it'll be success. I don't know how big a movie it's going to be. But let's be honest, if it hits, say, just like 500,000, that's a good number, I think. 500,000 is a good, 500,000,000 is a good number. Hopefully it makes more than that. I'll say this, where I predict it, if it's got a good run, people continue to go see it, I'm seeing somewhere more like Thor 4 numbers, between like 700 and 750, maybe 650 and 750, something like that. All right, 5. Why do faith-based movies tend to do worse than movies that are secular at the box office? Same with movies that push a right-wing message tend to do worse than movies that push a left-wing message. So the problem and to answer your question, Hawkeye Highlander, I saw this. Why I'm interested in faith is because my mother forced it on me ever since I was little. I have no way out of that. I wish I was an atheist, since I don't see the devil or Jesus in real life. Otherwise, my mother would be upset. My mother told me if I go to hell if I abandon my faith. Okay, I'm going to say this is nice about your mom because I don't know your mom, and I'm sure you love your mom. That's bad parenting. Sorry, you putting your faith over your raising your kid in faith is fine, but putting your faith over your kid and basically saying, oh, you're going to go to hell if you ever abandon this faith, that's not parenting, that's recruiting. So I'm not trying to be mean to your mom. I'm sure your mom might have a lot of good qualities. I'm sure you love your mom, but look, man, you are allowed. You are a human being. You are allowed to choose what you choose and believe what you believe. And look, if you're just staying in the faith just to make your mom happy but don't really believe it, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. Because, look, it's better to, keep the peace than anything else. But if you really want out of it, then just denounce it. Now, let me be very clear. We have no evidence. I'm not one of you who's like, we need proof. But look, there's so many religions out there with different faiths, all covering around the same thing, that she does not have any confirmation that's what's going to happen if you denounce your faith. She just doesn't, because she's one person in a world of billions where there's at least a dozen different religions. So that'd be but again, this is my take as someone who's not religious, really. Again, not an atheist. I need to be very clear about that, but I'm not religious in any one way. Now, again, why do faith-based movies tend to do worse than other movies that aren't faith-based? Well, because faith is a very niche subject matter. And people who aren't of faith or of different faiths don't need to be preached to when they're going to a movie, or don't want to be. I know I don't want to be. That's why I don't go see faith-based movies. Especially, again, I knock on, and you've asked this question before, but I knock on PureFlix a lot because they don't just preach. They demonize people in their movies for not being of that faith. Angel Studios is a better version of PureFlix because they don't do that, but still. As for why, same with movies that have a right-wing message tend to do worse than movies that push with a left-wing message. Well, that might be because a lot more people lean towards more left-wing policies when it comes to things like gender politics or treating people fairly and trying to give people an even shake in this world, whereas a lot more right-wing messages tend to be a lot more obviously conservative. They don't tend to really care about people. They care more about what's the best way to put it? At least from my experience, right-wing messages tend to care more about themselves and their viewpoint than the people. Whereas liberal messages tend to actually care more about the people. That's not fair, because there's plenty of self-centered liberals. I know a couple. My sister dates one. But the messages of the more left-wing tend to be a lot more palatable than the messages of the right wing, at least when it comes to movies. So that would be my guess. But again, I'm just hypothesizing. All right. Diego Lorente, I know you have like 3 different questions asked. This 3 hypothetical, who wins fights? Okay, I already mentioned I did one of these. I did Men in Black versus the SCP Foundation before. And I believe I did another one of these, didn't I? I did the Indoraptor versus what was it? The Indoraptor versus SC, one of the SC, and it's the Shy Guy. That's what I did. Yeah, I did both of those already. So just I'm not going to answer those again. Jurassic Park universe, though, versus the Creepypasta universe. By the way, I did write these down, so these are in the book. Real quick, though, the Creepypasta universe wins over the Jurassic Park universe because Zalgo is kind of one of those cosmic horror kind of characters. And versus horror movie universes, still cosmic horror. There aren't many horror movie universes that get that high or that powerful. Second one, who wins the hypothetical? We already talked about that one. Moving on. Of course, he does. Of course, he does. Your opinion: who wins hypothetical? Batman or James Bond? Batman, because James Bond is a spy. Yeah, he's a quick shot. He does carry some gadgets. Batman's gadgets tend to be just better. He's a better fighter. He wears body armor that could take a hit from him. So yeah, no, Batman would beat James Bond. If you can bring back one discontinued item food from your childhood for another chance, which would it be? Oh, that's a good question. Okay, I wouldn't say it was from my childhood, but years and years and years and years ago, there were these Reese's sandwich cookies. They were basically like they were designed like a tag along, where they had like a reservoir of peanut butter there, but it wasn't like a full sandwich cookie. It was more like a divot. So they had the Reese's peanut butter, and it was Reese's peanut butter, and covered in chocolate. Those were freaking amazing. And then there was a salmonella outbreak, and they just discontinued them, which sucked. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so you asked more questions. Do you like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies? Yeah, I like them. I even like Spider-Man 3. It's the worst one, but I like Spider-Man 3. Are you gonna watch Hurry Up Tomorrow with The Weeknd and Jenna Ortega? Depends what else is coming out that week. Maybe, but if I've got like I barely know what this movie's even about, so maybe. Which Cartoon Network characters could survive the Predator or the Terminator from the Terminator movies? The Powerpuff Girls? Yes. Dexter probably survives the Terminator by just out-teching it. Predator might be more difficult, but not impossible. Mordecai and Rigby, they do have Toon Force, but if we're taking Toon Force theoretically out of the equation, no, they're not surviving either. Finn and Jake actually, yes, because Adventure Time's got weird freaking mechanics, but Finn, probably not. Billy and Mandy, if they don't have Grimm here, so no. Codename Kids Next Door, no. Courage, yes, his Toon Force is on another level. You said you're not using Toon Force, yeah, but Toon Force is directly shown in that for Courage. God rested the voice actor. I can't remember his name, but yeah, God rest him. Johnny Bravo, no, he's dead. Mac and Boo, one's imaginary, so no. Ed, Edd n Eddy, no. Ben 10 takes them both down. Question number 4. Have you ever watched any, or next question, have you ever watched any of the Bill and Ted movies? Not in years. I think I've watched the second one once. Next question. Would you rather fight Pyramid from Silent Hill or the Predator? You know what? I'd rather fight the Predator, because if I'm actually fighting the Predator, he's at least going to give me a fair shake and just go hand to hand. I'm probably not going to beat him in a straight fight, but at least I got a better shot than Pyramid Head, because he's wielding that giant F-off blade, the Pyramid Head, so I can't punch him in the face. Yeah, I could punch him in the stomach, but that's not going to make me this is going to piss him off. Yeah, Predator's got more tech, but I'd rather go up against the Predator. At least it's got a sense of honor to it. Or Freddy. Well, okay, if you're asking me then, I'm going to take Freddy, because I can get Freddy in the real world. We're throwing hands, and I'm putting his ass on the ground. He is not a fighter. Next question of today. Please tell me, have you watched the regular show? I've seen bits and pieces. I do remember the whole the giant eyeball scene where it's like, hey, don't blink. Darkness. All I see is darkness. Okay. Actually, 2 PS is for what? 2 PS is for you. Can Dana Scully, Fox Mulder, catch Light Yagami? He's paranoid enough to probably not show his face, but no, figure. Maybe. You know what? Maybe. I'd put him under a maybe. Second, PS for what's the PS for? Is this supposed to be PS? Do you think this can? And PS? Well, just add them as questions, man. What is better, Lord of the Rings or Attack on Titan? I go Lord of the Rings. I'm actually not an Attack on Titan guy. Very kind of PS object very kind of PS object class you know from the SCP universe will Spider-Man or the Avengers mutants should be? Say okay, I don't know. I get the question you're asking. Do what what class of like SCP anomaly would Spider-Man, the X-Men, or mutants be? That would all depend on the mutant. There's Omega level mutants that would be Cater class, but there are other mutants who would be safe. But I do not know, by the way, what the PS is standing for right now. So, sorry, I don't know what that means. Okay, Wade Wilson asked 1 of 7. Hey, it's always great to see the Q&A sessions. It's always fun to do them. They really make my day. Glad I can be of assistance. Anyway, let's get to the questions. Do you believe Marvel will ever overcome its current slump, or is the MCU simply burnt out? No, it can overcome it. Because even with its slump, it wasn't like the Marvel Cinematic Universe was dead, despite the memes. Because if you quickly look at it, Black Widow was overall well received. It just it had the very strong misfortune of that damn day and date release. It really did. But Black Widow was fine. Shang-Chi was universally well received. It was just coming off a pandemic. Eternals, I don't know if Eternals is just very different. I don't know if you can call that a hit, but then you get Spider-Man No Way Home. So right out the gate, you got more or less 3 hits with 1 miss. So I'll put the misses here. Then you get Doctor Strange, which was still really well liked. A lot of people had some issues, but it still made near $1 billion, so that's still a win. Thor: Love and Thunder made money, but I think we can call that a loss. Then you had then you had Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. An impossible task, but I think that is still overall a win. And it still had issues, but an overall win. But then you had Quantumania, that's a loss, just is. But then you had Guardians, that's a win. Then you had the Marvels, that's a loss. Then you had Deadpool and Wolverine, that's a win. And then you had Captain America, which is a loss. But now everything is sounding like Thunderbolts is going to be a win. So that's 8 wins to 5 losses. If I have to add on these the Disney Plus stuff, WandaVision's a win. Falcon and Winter Soldier is a win. It is. Loki season 1 and 2, that's a win. So you're up to 12 on that. I'd call Hawkeye a loss, and I'd also call Echo a loss. Miss Marvel's a win, though. Moon Knight, it falls in a weird middle ground. I'll call it, I'm going to say that's neutral. I don't think that's a win or a loss, quite frankly. But then Secret Invasion, oof. She-Hulk, but then you had Agatha All Along. And I'm not counting the what-ifs, really. So, sorry, Agatha All Along. So, you've got what right now? 14-9, roughly speaking. So, their batting average is actually still good, believe it or not. It's taken a hit, but it's still good. So, can they overcome the current slump? Which I actually think is the best way to put it. They're not dead. They're maybe at their lowest point, but it's a slump. And right now, it sounds like Thunderbolts is going to help get them out. Oh, they had Daredevil. You got to count Daredevil as a win. So they got their batting average actually is still in their favor right now, at least by my opinion, in the general consensus. All right. So yeah, I think you can get out of the slump. Absolutely. 2, which sci-fi universe or Earth government do you find yourself most drawn to? Sci-fi universe? That's actually a good question. Sci-fi universe. I mean, it's kind of boring to say with Star Wars. I mean, yes, government-wise, I actually probably lean towards the Federation because that's the pretty, good stable government. But in terms of like the overall universe, Star Wars, absolutely. Do you think Doctor Doom would make a great opponent for Sasuke, Aizen, and Deathbell? They both share similarities, as they are men driven by great ambitions, desires to achieve godlike stats, yet the hubris ultimately leads their downfall, and they do not consider anyone their equal. Yes, actually, and in fact, I believe I might have written this down when you gave it to me. But if I'm not, I'll have to remember to do that when this is over, because that is actually a pretty solid matchup. All right then. I'm not sure if you considered this character yet, but do you think Conan the what do you think Conan Barbarian's lane to Crook would be? I did put that in the comments. Will is a strong one. He's overcome great fear before, and he has great willpower. Yeah, I'm right at this moment, Will. Although, depending on when you get to him, Rage could possibly work too, because he does harbor a lot of revenge in them. All right, then 5. Have you discovered any movies or TV shows through a nostalgia critic? Yeah, I discovered a couple of movies through him. Does his criticism influence your viewing choices, or will you still give those shows or movies a chance despite the take? Oh, I still usually give them a chance. There's very few exceptions though. Like there are exceptions. Like I am never going to be watching Diary of a Wimpy Kid based on that review, just because not because of his comments, but because of just watching the movie. It has nothing to do with his criticisms. It has everything to do with what I'm watching, and I'm watching this going, no, F this kid. This kid should be getting his ass kicked. Who do you think would win? I think I wrote this too. Borg or Cybermen? It depends. I think it's the Cybermen, because the Cybermen's tech just gets more advanced as it goes on. They get to nanite levels, whereas the Borg generally don't. And they have to assimilate like living beings just by putting like technology in them, but still having the human components. Whereas Cybermen just use a base human body. So yeah, I'd say Cybermen win. Their assimilation is just more advanced than the Borg. The Borg arguably might have better overall firepower, at least when it comes to like their ships, but Cybermen in theory could maybe even take over the Borg, because there still are biological components to the Borg. And then among these sci-fi franchises, which one do you find yourself most drawn to? The 100, never watched it. Avatar, believe it or not, I do like the world of Avatar. Matrix, no. Firefly, I do like it. Firefly. Between the two, ooh, I might lean just a little bit towards Avatar's world. The world of Avatar I really love. I'd love just a mockumentary about like just the wildlife and the fauna and stuff like that. Alien, nah. Yeah, well, drawn to live in, or just drawn to in general? Because the Alien and Predator franchise, I actually would say it trumps the Avatar franchise then. The Expanse, don't watch it. Planet of the Apes, no. Battlestar Galactica, don't watch it. Sliders, nope. Stargate SG-1, was never a big fan. Blade Runner, no. Star Trek, nah. Basically for me, actually, at this point, it comes down to Doctor Who, Star Wars, and Alien / Predator. Most drawn to, like what I would go back to for like comfort food. In order, I'd go Star Wars, Doctor Who, and Alien. I never used to be a Whovian until I started watching it with my girlfriend, and now I'm a Whovian. Now I love Doctor Who. So there's that. We're on Capaldi's era. We just ended his first season, and Capaldi is already one of my favorite doctors. I'm just loving Capaldi. All right. Diego asked more questions. The last question. This is kind of the last question for you today. We'll see. I got 4. Who's better, Rolling Stones or Beatles? In terms of who I like more, which song? I probably like the Rolling Stones more. They're a bit harder edge for me. Question 2, and I probably sing their songs more to myself than any of that. Question 2, would you rather work with the SCP Foundation, the Men in Black, or being security at Five Nights at Freddy's Umbrella Corporation for Resident Evil? Not the last two. Honestly, that's a good question. Men in Black, because I have less chance of dying in the SCP in Men in Black than the SCP Foundation. Number 3, what's your honest opinion on Jenna Ortega? I like Jenna Ortega as an actress. She is very talented. She does have a fun personality when you see her casually. She is cute. She's got a good look to her, and I can say that because she is legal age. So despite the fact she looks young, she's legal for me to say that. But I think she has the same problem that Rachel Zegler has. She is a little bit of a Gen Zer, and I think that brings a little bit of an arrogance or unjustifiable, not arrogance, but overinflated sense of self. I think that's what it is. I think that I always said that she just needs to learn a little bit more tact. It's an overinflated sense of self that both these two have. It's great to have confidence, and I think Jenna Ortega is better than Rachel Zegler on this. But yeah. Question number 4: have you watched The X-Files or Twin Peaks? By the way, you have like way more than 4 questions here, which is fine. I would just ask you to just be honest when you're doing it. Just ask questions. Have you watched? Yes, I've watched X-Files. No, I have not watched Twin Peaks. American Horror Story or Supernatural? I've watched Supernatural. We're currently slowly going through Supernatural. Next season we're on is going to be 7. Don't watch American Horror Story. Are you afraid of the Gump? Are you afraid of the Dark, or Wednesday, or Goosebumps, 1995. Yes, I watched Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yes, I watched Goosebumps. I have yet to actually watch Wednesday, although I've seen plenty of clips. And so, yeah, I do want to watch that. Question number 4, last one. By the way, these are multiple questions, dude. It's fine. I'm not saying you're cheating. I'm just saying I don't think you quite realize what a question is, at least in this context. Would you rather live in the universe of Wednesday or Netflix on Netflix or Gravity Falls? Honestly, probably Wednesday. It's more grounded. I would, you know what? I'll throw hands with a Hyde. Come on, it might kill me, but I'd rather do that than deal with freaking Bill. Or Twin Peaks or X-Files. Between the 4 of them, Wednesday still. Or person of interest, which universe you have to live. Again, I'll go Wednesday. Bonus question. Again, I would just encourage you guys just to be honest. Don't do that. Bonus question for you. This is kind of a meme right now, but who wins an hypothetical fight? 1 gorilla or 100 men? Yeah, I saw that recently. That's a new meme now, not the coffee baby versus the hydrogen bomb one. By the way, someone gave me that as a versus. I'm not doing that. That's stupid. I'm not doing a meme fight. Put the debate to rest. Who will win in the fight is obvious. 100 men will win. In this obvious fight, 100 men will win. Last one for... Dude, come on. Seriously. Just number it appropriately. That's it. This shouldn't be bothering much as it is, but I just feel like it's dude, come on. And yes, the answer is 100 men, simply because the gorilla is going to tire out after the first dozen or so. Although the gorilla, frankly, might just try to run away. And at that point, then the 100 men still win. Although, are we counting that if one man dies, the 100 men lose because it's no longer 100 men? Because if one man dies, then the gorilla wins. You got to think about these things. It's not specifying that just one has to live. It's saying 100 men. And 100 men didn't win that fight. 80 some odd men won that fight. But no, it's probably the 100 men. One last. Now, you do 20 gorillas versus 100 men. The gorillas are wrecking shop. That's just hands down. That's it. The gorillas are wrecking shop. One last one for real. Do you think the SCP Foundation should contain Sonic the Hedgehog and his friends like Tails and Knuckles, Amy, and the rest of the Sonic cast? Hold on. Do you think that they think the SCP should contain them? How would they contain Sonic the Hedgehog? Do I think they should contain them? I mean, they are. I guess they'd be anomalies. But the question is, could they? Sonic moves faster than anything they are capable of taking care of. Tails, Knuckles, Amy, they're relatively easy to contain. Shadow and Sonic would be impossible to contain. Do you think Robotnik could have been a scientist, aka Dr. Eggman? All right, thank you. I know who that is. If he would work with the SCP Foundation, if he tried to work with them to contain him, that might be a different story. Maybe. Should they? Probably not. They don't possess a threat. But then again, they jail or contain things that aren't necessarily threatening anyway because they're anomalies. Okay, then. At the 48-minute mark, we got through a lot of the big stuff. All right, King Fergo. Out of curiosity, are you a Harry Potter fan at all? Yes, I am. I enjoy Harry Potter. Am I a diehard Potterhead? Nope, but I enjoy Harry Potter. Dragonfist Dojan. What's your thoughts on New Avengers Doomsday coming out and Tony Stark, a.k.a. being Victor Von Doom? So this has been, the big topic as of late. Oh my God, Tony Stark's coming, Stark's coming back. Doom's going to be a Stark variant. I like the idea that Tony might be a Victor Von Doom variant. That's a cool idea. But what do I like? Do I like it? Well, first, do I like Doomsday, period? Yeah. We need Dr. Doom coming. And do I like Robert Downey Jr. playing him? Yeah, I like it. Absolutely. It's different. They clearly have a story idea for it. And that's the big thing. We can't judge it, but we can only judge it based on the initial. We can't judge it this is going to suck. You don't know that. Watch it and judge it on its own merits, and don't be biased. Don't have your negative viewpoint bias the actual what you're feeling watching this. But I'm down for it as long as they make a good product. That's all that matters. James Riley. Any characters you think should have stayed evil or antagonistic, and any characters you think should have turned good or been redeemed or redeemed themselves? Ooh, that's a good question. Should have, or would I have liked to have seen? Yeah, I would have liked to see Bastion from X-Men 97 turn good because he's freaking powerful. What about another character who I would? You know what? I would have liked to have seen Darth Maul turn good. I think you could have done something with that. There's fanfic about that too. There's what ifs about what if he was good too, and he would have been a powerful Jedi, a powerful Jedi. But characters who I would like to have seen stayed evil or antagonistic. I will be flat out honest. Even though I don't like Bakugo's character very much when he's an asshole, I think it actually would have been perfect if he actually was like opposing Midoriya. I think that could have actually worked like as a story beat. Sasuke is another one I actually would have preferred he just stayed evil and Naruto either just and that he gets ass locked up for life. Like Naruto brings his friend back, but he just stays. He gets locked up for life. At the minute, he brings him physically back at any rate. But that's my thoughts. Rivet, have you ever watched the X-Files? I've already been asked this, and no, I've actually watched neither of them. Oh God, Diego. Okay, real quick, Diego, what's your honest opinion about the SCP Foundation? I like it. It's what I think. A lot of people love creepypasta. I'm not a creepypasta fan because people keep just adding lore to it and all that, and just making things very convoluted. Whereas it's also why I'm not a big fan of the Sugsverse stuff, because it's so it's written to be ridiculous in terms of like power and all that. But with SCP, it all seems grounded enough to make sense on some level, and I like that. And a question: what's your favorite SCP object for me? For me, at least, probably some of them. 3636, the jukebox crate music videos in real life. It's been a while since I really looked up a lot of the SCP stuff. An object? Favorite object? Yeah, there's one that's a rock. No, sorry. There's one that people don't know what it is. It literally has natural anesthetizing abilities. You can look at it, you can pick it up, you can study it, but the minute you like just walk away from it, you just start to forget what it is. But you know what it isn't. Like you like if someone asks a question to figure out what is it, what it isn't. What is it? Is it round? It's like, was it round? No, it wasn't round. So yeah. To be fair, that could actually be a creature in there too, but whatever it is, it's an object, I think. So I like that one. 173, the original statue, if you blink, it'll break your neck. Okay, or 392, basically the media police. I don't know which one that is. I'll go with statue breaks your neck. You should Google one of them. All right, I'll Google one of them just to make sure I did my due diligence here. SCP, was it 3922? Was it? 3922. Yeah. All right. So what is this actual? Oh no, not test logs. I want this. A cylindrical diameter object composed of a nickel aluminum. What is this now? So 3922 depiction is a cylindrical object 3 centimeters in diameter and half a centimeter in depth, composed of a nickel aluminum alloy. One side of the object has been engraved with the insignia of 3 crescent moons in a row. It was purchased at a garage sale in Kenosha. After confirming the owner's properties, and has been described as the owner of some kind of morality filter for TV. Are you asking which one I like more, or which one would win? Because it would be the 173 either way. Okay then, Clark Kent. All right, you want it even smoother, easier on the eyes, and more natural to read without feeling like a long list that's too heavy. I'll space it out better, flow the sources into more casually, and make it feel more conversational, but still polished. And here's the new upgraded version of the questions. Hello, Clockwork. 1 of 9. Right here. What are your favorite alien species across all sci-fi? Well, I gotta love the Yautja. The Predators are great, and Xenomorphs are classic. In terms of other alien species, though, Star Wars has got a good couple few I'm a big fan of. Big fan. I like the Rancor a lot. Krayt Dragons are also a lot of fun, to be fair. And there's a lot of stuff on Pandora that's a lot of fun too. So there's a good bunch. Oh, and the Thing is a lot of fun. Who doesn't like the Thing? What's your in the world of Invincible, I know Invincible. Do you think a group like the League of Villains could be an actual threat to the heroes? Oh, absolutely. If we're dealing with them at their peak, Shigaraki would give Omni-Man problems because he has no protection against decay, or even half the quirks he has. So yeah, League of Villains, and then you have Gigantomachia in there too. So yeah, I'd definitely say they'd give him problems. Who do you think? What do you think would happen if Padme had given birth during the Clone Wars instead of after? During Clone Wars, which means that by the time we get to Revenge of the Sith, Leia and Luke would have been. That's a what if in and of its own. I think I might have added that to the what ifs. If not, I will actually have to, because that is a legit. Because you'd have Clone Wars went on for years. You'd have a young Luke and Leia where Anakin is probably teaching him the Force on the slide. Padme doesn't die because she's not dying of a broken heart here. She has Anakin. The problem is you have to hide him from the council. Eventually he's going to get found out. And it's going to be more him turning to the dark side to protect his family, I guess. But Obi-Wan probably would vouch for him, understanding what happened. Either way, it'd be an interesting thing, that's for certain. 4. If a xenomorph latched onto a Saiyan, do you think the hybrid will unlock its own transformation like Super Saiyan or even Ozaru? Ozaru, yes. Super Saiyan, no. I don't think xenomorphs have enough sentience and comprehension of rage, plus the S cells, to be able to do Super Saiyan. But because they're just primal hunger beasts. That's what they are. But Ozaru, oh yeah, you would have an Ozaru xenomorph, and that'd be horrifying and awesome all at once. Which one of these would you call the greatest sci-fi movie of all time? The Martian? It's good. Everything Everywhere All at Once? I have not watched it. The Road Warrior? No. Looper? It's good. I like The Martian better. Brother from Another Planet? No. A Trip to the Moon? Is that the Malay one? No. Gravity? No. They Live? No. Back to the Future? No. Videodrome? No. Terminator? WALL-E, no. Godzilla, 1954, Forbidden Planet. That's actually right up there with The Martian, I'd say. Her, Aliens, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Akira, La Cita, I don't know what that is. Mad Max, Fury Road, Ex Machina, Brazil, Alphaville, don't know what that is. The Fly, that's more horror than sci-fi. Quartermass and The Pit, don't know that. Minority Report. Greatest sci-fi film out of all of these? I think it's either Martian or Forbidden Planet because it really is kind of right up that alley of true sci-fi. Out of these alien species, who do you think are the all-time greats? Martians, Mars Attacks, they're good. Clowns and Killer Clowns from Outer Space, they're all right. They're more gimmick. Arachnid Bugs, a lot of fun. Yachas are very much iconic of the Predator. Martians from War of the Worlds, not really. Mimics, Edge of Tomorrow, they're good. I'd still put the Predators over that. Edgar the Bug is classic. Still put the Predators over that. Quiet Place Aliens are relatively new, but good. I didn't put a Predator over that. Na'vi, no. Prawns, Yoda, though, is iconic. That's probably even more iconic than the Predator, so I'd go that. Xenomorphs, though, are more iconic than Yoda, and honestly more iconic than the Predator. I'd probably say Xenomorphs. Monster Event from Planet, nope. The Thing, that is pretty iconic too. Then Pod People, no. E.T., the all-time great, I would probably have to say it's either E.T. or the Xenomorph. In terms of like the most iconic all-time people know him kind of thing. In terms of swordsman, who was the greatest to you out of this lineup? Afro Samurai, pretty good, but there's better. Vicious, no. Kenshin, I do think he's better than the Afro, so I'll go. He's currently number 1. Gomon Ishigawa, Lupin III, I don't know what that is, but probably not. Mugen, probably not. Guts, no. Gintama, he's a good swordsman. He is a good swordsman. Jean-Pierre Polnareff, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, don't know that. Hinata Sakaguchi, the time I got reincarnated as a slime, don't know that. Yoriichi Tsukuni, don't know. I don't watch Demon Slayer. Shishomaru, it's a Mihawk, I might have to put over Kenshin. I do. I might have to put over Kenshin. Killer Bee, though, has a very unique sword style that makes him highly unpredictable. I'll probably still say Mihawk. Atomic Samurai, no. Yeah, he's there. A lot of these guys are skilled. Asta's not a swordsman. Shiki from Garden of Sinners, no, I don't watch that. Saber, I don't watch Fate Stay. Sosuke Aizen is a master swordsman, but we don't see him really sword fighting that much. So as it stands, I would probably go Dracula Mihawk simply because I don't know half of these guys, and we don't see like some of the other guys like Aizen duking out. Though he claims to have mastered swordsmanship, like the swordsmanship of the Shinigami arts. Who do you think are the greatest anime pirates? Luffy, Mariko Kato, Bodacious Space Pirate. Don't know that one. Roruko Kojimi, Black Lagoon. Don't know that one. Outlaw Star. Don't know Outlaw Star. I'm going to tell you right now, most of these I don't know. Mostly I've never watched. I'm like going through all the ones I can actually even name. I can be honest, except for Luffy, I actually don't know, or at least I've heard a few of them, but I don't know who it is. So it's going to have to be Luffy. Sorry about that. 9, quick magic. Who wins in a battle with L or Hannibal Lecter? It's L. Hannibal Lecter's very witty, but he's not going to be able to get into L's head very easily. Okay. Diego. Seriously, Diego. Maybe you could just look, I have no problem you wanting to put it all this in, but maybe you can just do it in one. Q&A, Q&A question. What's your favorite Ed, Edd n Eddy episode? I couldn't tell you that. I really couldn't. There's too many to count on that. So yeah, and I haven't watched Ed, Edd n Eddy forever. If I'm going to name one right off the top of my head, it's the one where they have to work for Ralph. That one's pretty fun. Question 2, do you like Alan Walker music? I don't know who that is. Or Nirvana music. The Beatles. I like Nirvana and I like the Beatles. Question 3, are you going to see a new Final Destination movie? Yes, I am. I will do, at least I'll try to go see it. Number 4, could you do which scenario you try to survive a nightmare? What? Which scenario you try to survive a Nightmare on Elm Street or Scream? So you're asking, which scenario do I think I would survive, have a better chance of surviving? Scream, because it's just a guy in a suit with a knife. Freddy, if I can't get Freddy in the dream world, that's a problem. But Ghostface, you know what? I'll go toe-to-toe Ghostface any day. Are you going to see Thunderbolts? Doing it tomorrow. Next question. Do you collect any action figures like, eBay, Marquee, or just thrift stores? I will occasionally pick up like a Funko Pop if I'm really in the, if I really like something's caught my eye. But generally, no. Question number 7. Would you rather be in the agent as this SCP Foundation? What? Would you rather be an agent in the SCP Foundation? I think we've already asked this question. Men in Black. Question number 8. What's your honest opinion on Storytime Animators? I don't know. I don't know what that is. Question number 9. Have you watched Overly Sarcastic Productions? Is it a good channel? I have not watched that. Sorry. Number 10. What's your favorite soda? Sprite. Number 11. Where'd you go? Nope. Where'd you go? Sprite. Final question on number 11. What is better, Spider-Man or Batman or Superman, Mario, Sonic, Goku? So of the three, those are 3 different sets because you did a question mark after Superman. Which is better? Like, which one do I think is the best hero? It's actually probably Spider-Man because he's just a guy doing what he can to help out. Superman, the problem with Superman is he has so much power. He can literally help out the world in a day, but he kind of doesn't do it. Like he's still, because he's raised with a human mentality, he forgets that he's kind of is a god. And if he wanted to do the humane thing, he'd be like helping world hunger and all that stuff. Batman's actually not the best hero among them. Now he's my favorite among them, but he's not the best hero. Between Mario, Sonic, and Goku, though, who's the best hero? Probably Mario. He's the most selfless in terms of just doing good. Goku has put his universe at risk before with his own selfish desire to fight. And Sonic is a bit too cocky, personally. All right, then. And where are we at for time? We're actually doing pretty well so far today. Did my mouse just die on me? My mouse just died on me. What the hell? Okay. There we go. Let's see here. And hey, we only just crossed the hour, so we're actually making some good time here. Powered at 99. What do you think would happen if Ash wasn't my hero? Side note, what do you think would happen if Sasuke died at Valley End during Valley of the End, or during his and Naruto's first battle. So you're asking me what ifs. I told you not. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Those are what ifs you're asking me to do. I told you I'm not going to do an actual what if. If we're talking about Ash as in Pokemon, well, he doesn't have a quirk, so he's kind of effed. If we're talking about what if Sasuke died at the Valley of the End during his and Naruto's first fight, that would change the story up greatly. So there you go. You're not getting more answers than that because that's a what if, and I told you I'm not doing that. All right. Dennis Servant, by the way, just because you don't call it a what if doesn't mean it's not a what if. Let's be honest. Hi, hey, Clockwork Highlander. I hope you're doing well. I am doing well. Before I begin with my questions, I just have to begin saying thank you. Well, you're welcome. I had such a rough time. My dog dying. I'm sorry to hear that. My dad getting more health problems. Yeah, that's and so much more. It's been a struggle to keep up with everything and to find something to push me forward. But your videos have been a real motivator as usual. Well, I'm glad. Just to thank you so much for doing what you're doing. Also brings a smile or a laugh out of me, which makes a massive difference when bad things hit you out of every turn. I can relate, man. I'm sorry for your misfortune. Sorry your dog passed. My dog getting older too, and she's definitely got a couple of health issues, but she's just one of those dogs I can't get to the vet. Like she literally won't get out of the car. With that said, enough of the sappy stuff. On with the questions. All right then. One of looks like 6 or 7. If you could choose a crossover between 2 series, anime, comics, whatever, for a video game, what would they be? And how would you like the game to be? Like, how would you like the story to be? Or anything else you want it to be? Game? Hope it's confusing. I get what you're saying with this. Like, it's one thing to cross over to genres to do like a crossover story. Is there anything to make a game out of it? I mean, I'm going to just give sadly a boring answer here. I'm going to do Marvel and DC and a versus and like a Mortal Kombat style, Street Fighter style. Sorry. 2, if you rank the Ninja Turtles in terms of your favorites, who would you rank? Leonardo, Donatello, Mikey, and Raph. I'm actually not a Raph fan. Do you have aunts or uncles? I do. Yeah, currently living, I've got many aunts and uncles. Don't speak to them very much. We're not that close, but I speak. I have them. Since it's still April, yep, one day, have you done any cool, funny April Fool's pranks that you remember? No, I was never went into that personally. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I've had people try to play that, but no, with no success. Do you and your girlfriend have a favorite movie or series that you love watching together? Right now, Doctor Who. That'd be our favorite series to watch together. Let's say you were sent to a dangerous world with so many strong beings and you knew that things would hit the fan fast there, so to speak. If you had the choice of one ability, each from the big 3, Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach, to gain in that world, what would you choose? Well, that's not fair, because in Bleach, I'm taking the Almighty 100%. Because literally, I can, and at that point, I don't need anything else from the other 2, because I can literally choose what future to happen. But since we're continuing this, might as well. I'd probably take, honestly, the Uenomi, the model carp, Kaido's fruit, just to be a dragon, because that's fun. And then in Naruto, I would probably have access to the Rinnegan. Actually, you know what? No. I would probably have access to one of the Shinjutsu that are broken beyond the Rinnegan. So you add that on with the Almighty, and we're good to go. And lastly, and next time you want to ask a question like that, make sure to like preface it as like, no Almighty, you have to actually choose something else. Lastly, 7, if people put their what if suggestions on Q&As, do you write them down? I still do. Yes. Any suggestion? Yes. Just wondering, because I put what if Deku was in class 1B in a past one. I wonder if I wrote it down. I'm pretty sure I did, Dennis, but I'll probably have to double check on that. But yeah, I put it down. Thanks again. Keep up the great work. Absolute best. No worries. Luke Zilla asked the question, maybe this could be interesting. Can Conquest from Invincible be redeemed? I'm talking about the show version, not the comics. He is pretty, not depraved, but pretty, like, just battle hungry and just, like, loving to torture and cause pain. It'd be difficult. But he's far from, like, the worst person on the show, I think. Was it Anissa? That's not a redeemable character. Whereas this guy is just likes battles. So I imagine there's maybe a path somewhere. It'd be difficult, though. Noble Chief asks 1 of 10. Number 1, do you enjoy the Defenders as the street level heroes or cosmic level? Are you talking about the Defenders as Marvel, or are you talking about, do I enjoy my Defenders, like the heroes protecting me, and from comics as street level or cosmic level? It depends on the story and who's there. I will say it's a lot more relatable when it is street level, so I'll say that. Have you seen Pete Holmes' Batman skits? I'm pretty sure I know. If he's the guy who talks like this, then yes, I have. Are you an NBA fan? No, I'm not a sports fan. What's your favorite Treehouse episode of Simpsons? I'm actually not a Simpsons fan either. I did not. Now, that being said, I have seen some Simpsons and Treehouse Horror. Willie being Freddy Krueger. That'd be one of my favorites. Who's the best Robin? Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson is the best Robin. Although, Tim Drake is the immediate runner-up. Not Jason Todd and not Damian. No, in fact, Tim Drake is actually an underrated Robin, I think. That being said, if the Fantastic Four went missing or die, who do you think takes their spot? The new Marvel Fantastic Four? Well, we've had the Fantastic Four be other characters that aren't the Fantastic Four. So, that being said, if we're looking for people to fill that niche, Tony is not as smart as Reed, but overly smart. I put Tony as your fire energy producer. I would put maybe a Polaris, or no, maybe not Polaris. Firestar maybe? But Firestar as your Thing. I'd put Luke Cage, because he's still invulnerable and still very strong. And then as your Sue Storm, a weird one, I would Psylocke, just for mental ability. So there you go. Okay, what's your favorite SNL skits? Again, don't watch a lot of SNL. I'm more fun a lot more of the earlier ones. I mean, it's really hard to top. I gotta have more Cowbell. It's really hard to top Cowbell. If Galactus was in DC, do you think he would choose? Who do you think he would choose as Herald? Well, they've done a crossover where he tried to consume Apocalypse, and he bested Darkseid as his Herald. Ooh, that's a tough one. You know what? I could honestly see a lantern of some kind being converted. They're already cosmic. They already travel around space. I could see a lantern being converted and still maybe having the lantern ring too. Depends on the lantern ring though. Because the emotion still has to be there. A blue lantern converted to Galactus and now seeing him as his deity and placing his faith in him? Oh, that would be messed up. That would work scarily well. So yeah, okay, there you go. Have you seen the Predator Badlands trailer yet? And what's your thoughts? I'm down for it, man. A movie where the Predator is the lead. Yeah. Now, but the people who are saying, oh, Gen Z Predator. Why? Because of the haircut? He's a young Predator. It's clear he's not going to be the same. And he's going to look maybe different than a normal Predator. I don't get people's this insufferable nature to just make things freaking political or generational or whatever. I don't get it. Finally, 10, what's your favorite candy? That's a two-prong question. If we're talking about sweet and chocolatey, Reese's, anything Reese's, well, almost anything Reese's, all day, every day, end of story. If we're talking about non-Reese's or non-chocolate, Skittles. Love Skittles. Riveted again asks the question, do you think the SCP Foundation could exist in the same universe as the regular show? Because the regular show kind of similar to SCP and how it could feel like a universe that has the same universe as the show, like the X-Files. Okay, now you're saying show in the show in the show. It could. There's nothing saying it couldn't. But yeah. Do you think, Diego Lorente also asked, do you think the SCP Foundation could contain the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park? Yes or no? Yeah. They already have dinosaur-based SCPs and they keep them contained. So, yeah, no, you could contain them. It's literally just like a zoo. So, yeah, you could do it. Joshua Merriweather. Hello, Clockwork Highlander. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. Before we begin, Joshua, I've been meaning to just let you know, my brother, that I appreciate your suggestions and you wanting your suggestions to be heard and wanting me to do them. You do not have to keep rinse and repeating the same suggestions over and over again, though, constantly. I see every suggestion that is put down, and it is in the book. Also, I'm already doing the Deku being force sensitive thing, so you're now repeating a suggestion that you're not repeating a suggestion that I got to. So I don't know if you're just like rinse repeating, like printing these, but you don't have to keep repeating it, my friend. If you got new ones, you can put those in, but you don't have to keep repeating it. I can guarantee I see every single one of them. Now, with that said, it's going to be one of... Oh, God damn. I didn't think the battery was this close to dying on this mouse. All right. Anyway, one of... Oh, God. One of 17. Luckily, these aren't long questions. What type of what-if scenarios are you comfortable with getting all fanficky? It has to be something like with the Naruto going rogue. It has to be a change that basically, A, doesn't really make sense, or a change that can lead to a completely branched off storyline. Naruto making his own village is something that I could just go completely fanficky with. It was one of the few times I could do that, and I'll admit I had a lot of fun doing that. But generally speaking, I'm not just going to bring a character in just to bring him in, even if it's like, oh, but they're around at this time. Yeah, but that why would I bring him in otherwise? So I'm not going to do that. Okay, 2. If you were force sensitive, would you be a Jedi, Sith, or Gray Jedi? What color would your lightsaber be based on your choice and personality? I'd probably lean more towards Gray Jedi. Based on my personality, probably purple. I do believe that balancing your darkness with your light is important in life. Number 3, do you think Disney should lower their production budget and re-release some films on their anniversary week or special occasions like Beauty and the Beast 3D? They'll re-release whatever. Do they need to lower their production budgets? Yes, they do. Absolutely. Snow White was clearly not going to do well regardless, but the 200 plus price tag on there did not help. Same with Haunted Mansion. That movie did not. There was nothing in that movie that told me it was a $150 million movie. Not a damn thing. I have no idea who greenlighted that and why. That movie at best looked like $100 million, and I'm being generous. So yeah, no, they do need to get their act together on that. And it looks like they have been doing a little bit of that for some movies. What is your favorite Broadway musical or soundtrack? Oh, I don't do a lot of those. I don't listen to soundtracks either, but I'll say Wicked just because I like the movie a lot and it's based on the Broadway show. What's your opinion on Sora from Kingdom Hearts traveling to the anime worlds? It would all depend on what anime world. There's some where he would dominate. Others where he'd be dominated. So yeah. If you were in One Piece, what pirate crew would you join? Would you choose to eat a devil fruit, master all 3 forms of hockey, or both? Oh, if I get the choice, both. Who doesn't want a devil? Yeah, you can't swim, but to be fair, Oa has not yet confirmed or denied there isn't a water devil fruit where you literally can turn into water, like a water logia. There probably is an exception fruit to the rule out there somewhere. And I think it would be hilarious if I were that exception. I will be that exception. But yeah, master all 3 forms of hockey, sure. In terms of what crew? The Straw Hats are kind of a good community and family. They'd be nice. So yeah, maybe that. Number 7. 3 most anticipated summer movies you are going to see. Anticipated thus far? Technically Thunderbolts is tomorrow, but I'll count that out. I'll be honest, Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm waiting for that. I want that new trailer pop up. We've seen that first one for so long. I'm like, this is a good trailer. I like it. And I love dinosaurs. Superman's got to be on there, though. It has to be on there. And then, yeah, I'll go Fantastic Four. They're the boring answers, but yeah, for summer movie season anyway. But you know what? For an honorable mention, Naked Gun and Nobody 2. So yeah, but for honorable mentions, I'll go those 2. Do you play Pokemon Go? No. Sorry, I don't play Pokemon Go. Do you feel number 9? How do you feel about Dijo Knight and the Amagi YouTube channels? Okay, I don't know Amagi, but I do know Dijo Knight. I like Dijo Knight. He's a cool guy. He's a cool guy. I like him. He reminds me of Nick NC Hammer a little bit. He just does random videos occasionally. NCS franchise or Law and Order? NCIS. I never finished NCIS, but in fact I fell off years ago. But give me one or the other, I'll watch NCIS. 11. So before Naruto was born, Konoha had the medical corps and a hospital established, and people with little chakra like Might Guy and Lee existed. My question is, why didn't anyone consider Naruto had too much chakra to use clone jutsu properly? Plot. That's really it. It's plot. Now, that being said, they didn't know how much chakra he had. I mean, Kakashi and probably anyone who knew Naruto's parentage probably knew what his chakra levels were like, but they just assumed he had shit chakra control. That's really what it is. Do you know if any of my what if suggestions are part in the past are considered one shots? Well, that original Goku one, yes, but you've been I don't have your one shot, your what ifs in front of me. Most of them probably not. Like, I'll double check for not this week or next week, but or not this month or next month's, because I write them out about 2 months. Like every time I get to the end of the first month, I got 1 month left to go. I then write out the next month. So for July, I'll take a look, and if you got a one shot that I can use for, like, say a what if, I'll throw it in there. But I don't know how many of those. I think most of those are actually going to be multi-parters, at least 2 to 3 minimum. And like I said, I'm currently doing the Deku being force sensitive one. You were asking for that, so yeah. And by the way, like I said, I've explained this before, but the way I pick people is very simple. I have the list of people, and I just go down the list. That's the fairest way I can make it. I don't sell suggestions. I don't have a Patreon or anything like that, because I want to and got to keep it fair. But when people give multiple suggestions, like say 3 different people give the same suggestion, it allows me to get through multiple people quicker. All right, 13. What are 5 things you would change about the Star Wars prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy? Okay, the prequel trilogy, George isn't directing. That we're not even talking about. George is not directing. None of the casting is actually all that bad. Some of this are actually really good, but yeah, George is not directing. B, what a lot of people said, make it a little bit more about Obi-Wan and them finding the chosen one. Make that about that. 2, and this now I'm gonna have to think a little harder here. Show us a little bit more of the Jedi at their power. Show us a little bit more, because we see it a little bit in the Clone Wars, but not really. We see it a little bit in Revenge, but they're not really to get wiped out. So there's that. After that, I don't know if there's much better, right? Just tighten up the script. Jake Lloyd, God bless him, he got such shit for that movie, and he didn't deserve it. And then last, either lessen or get rid of Jar Jar. That was just, it was not, no. In terms of findings I would change about the sequel trilogy, actually have a plan. Also, go with Colin Trevorrow's script. Okay, start with a plan, but that doesn't count. Recast Carrie Fisher. Don't try to honor her by just finishing it out. Recast Carrie Fisher. Have that character be brought, just like what they should have done with T'Challa. They should have brought that character in and just recast. Go with Colin Trevorrow's script, honestly. That was a better script. Far and away. Get rid of the damn Casino Planet plotline in Last Jedi. And along with that, really tighten up and fix that Holdo plotline. They're kind of connected. Holdo was not a likable character because they didn't explain oh no, she didn't care about this, because she was like, you didn't explain any of that. It just makes you and Leia look both, it just makes you and her look incompetent. So that's 3. 4, I actually really like what they did with Luke. Give Luke a little bit more to do in The Last Jedi. Just a little bit. For example, maybe have him actually take down 1 or 2, like, you know how I remember in how it should have ended, Luke stopping the entire AT-AT squad. But want a cool moment? First off, have that be a green lightsaber, so we don't know that Luke is so he's still a little unsure that Luke is a hologram, but have him be so powerful. You want to do a bit more Legends Luke, that he's actually able to stop the blaster fire even across the galaxy and throw it back and kneecap those AT-AT. Have him do something like that. So that would be really cool. But again, I actually really like what they did with that. And again, like I said, go more with the Colin Trevorrow script. So completely redo Rise of Skywalker. And after that, there's not much else that I could think you could do. Yeah, not much. I mean, maybe a little bit better writing for characters like Rey, who I don't think is a Mary Sue, but at points kind of comes off like that. So those would be the 5 things I'd change. What Lantern Corps would you choose to join and why? Okay, I've actually been asked this question before, and I believe I've done this before. No joke. And I'm being serious here. I think if I qualify for any Lantern Corps, it's the closest one I qualify for is probably blue. Just because I am someone who tries to keep optimistic even in dark times, and people put a lot of faith and trust in me on a lot of things. So I would say blue, even though I can be get a little not temper tantrum. I can get a little like I will straight out growl when I get angry. But that doesn't mean I have rage in me. That just means I get angry. Even people with hope get angry. How do you feel about everything that's been revealed about the Avengers Secret War and Doomsday so far? Look, I'm here for it. Avengers versus X-Men, which is clearly going to be at least something that's involved there. There's clearly going to be an incursion event. They're clearly going to probably duke it out at some point. I'm here for it. Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr., I'm here for it. All right, number 16, favorite season of Power Rangers. I didn't watch a lot of Power Rangers, but that said, I am more of an OG man myself. The original Power Rangers, not even Zeo, or when the early stage with Rita and Zed. And then finally, what's your favorite movie adaptation of a book? What unused video game do you think would be a successful box office hit if turned into a video game, I'm guessing? So a book turned into a movie. I mean, it's boring to say probably, but I would are we counting comic books of that? No, we can't. That's not fair. But graphic novel? If that's the case, I'll say Watchmen. Because graphic novel is not quite the same as a book, as comics. But an unused video game to turn into a movie? That's actually a pretty good question. Oh, I wouldn't mind seeing Darksiders as a video game, as a movie. That'd be kind of cool. With Death, the Horsemen, and all that. That'd be kind of fun. All right, thanks for the questions. Lethal Injection, 1 of 3. Would you rather be a vegetarian for 5 years or a vegan for 1? Vegetarian, because I can at least still eat fish. Depending on the type of vegetarian I am. Vegan? Hell no. Hell no. Which fictional setting would you, because that also affects what desserts I eat too. What fictional setting would be the easiest for you to specifically make a horror-based what if about? DBZ, Bleach, Naruto, or My Hero? It's either Naruto or My Hero because they're the most grounded in terms of realities, even with the Otsutsuki stuff going on. If I were to make, say, like a horror, like The Thing, comes to, like John Carpenter's The Thing, comes to one of these worlds, those are the 2 worlds that be hit the hardest. Those are the 2 easiest ones. Have you ever seen a relationship in a piece of fictional media that made you go, wait, what? How are they a couple? I can definitely say I have seen that. I can't say for certain. You know what? Yeah, I get Choji and Karui from Naruto. Like, how are they a couple? How did that happen? I'm not exactly sure. But otherwise, there are certainly other couples that have happened. I know, I remember them where I'm like, what? That makes no sense. Then there's Diego Lorente. Again, I've said my piece on the style of what you're doing. I know you got a lot of questions. That's fine. Okay, 1. Could the SCP Foundation contain any of these Cartoon Network characters? Dexter, yes. Brownie Bravo, yes. Powerpuff Girls, maybe. Grimm Adventures Trio. If you're talking about Grimm also, no, they can't contain the Grim Reaper. Robot Boy, Robot Jones Crow, no. Jones Crow, I don't know what that is. Chicken and Mac and Blue and Adam. Oh, I'm guessing those are all Fosters. Maybe? Ben 10, they can't contain. Kids Next Door, they can. Samurai Jack, yes. Anyone here who's human, they can contain. Anyone here who's got lower level abilities like Steven Universe, they can contain. Time Squad, they can just time out of there, so no. Anyone with the necessary Toon Force could get out of there as well. What's your honest opinion about the Exploring series on YouTube channel? I think I do know that series, and I do like it occasionally. What's your honest opinion on Death Battle if Death Battle ever announced composite Sonic Sonic the Hedgehog versus composite Spider-Man? I would say why. Sonic's going to completely and utterly annihilate Spider-Man. Even if you make him or was it Mr. Universe or something like that? Can't remember what it was. He'd still, even Cosmic Spider-Man, he'd still wreck Spider-Man. Do you think it'll ever happen for me? Do you think it will ever happen? Who fight? What? Who fight? We will actually win this death battle. Grammar, my friend. I'm guessing English might not be your first language, but you can revise you can look over the questions. Grammar is important. Just so I can read this better. Do you think it'll ever happen? No, I don't. I honestly don't think that. Yeah. Let me put it this way: if this were when they were coming back and someone had given that as one of the suggestions, maybe it could have happened. But no, it's never happening. There's just not enough similarities between them. If they ever bring YouTubers into Death Battle, like animated Storytime animators in Death Battle, oh wait, what? Do you think it'll ever happen to me who wouldn't fight Death Battle if they ever bring you? Oh, okay. If they ever bring YouTubers into Death Battle, like animated Storytime animators in Death Battle, as animators, maybe. As actual characters in the fight, no. Sorry. They're not doing that ever since like the Rebecca Black and Justin Bieber like controversy. Dear God. Do you think Joker from Batman could be a great James Bond villain to defeat? Oh yeah, he'd make a great James Bond villain. The only difference is James Bond would shoot him in the head. There you go. But maybe not before turning him into the Joker. Final question. I think Wicked for Good will break 1 billion. Do you agree with me? It's got a far better chance than the original one did, because the original one became a global sensation, made over $700 million. It's got a built-in audience base. So yes, I do think it's got a good chance. Do I think it's a guarantee? No. But if I'm going to lean on yes or no, I'll actually lean more towards yes. Bonus question, what honest opinion, which better epic rap battle of history? Which is better, epic rap battle of history or death battle or overly sarcastic productions? I don't know overly sarcastic productions. Epic back. I haven't watched those in a while, but some of those are iconic, but some death battles are iconic. I'll say death battle for more zeitgeist reasons. Would you take down the Joker, Green Goblin? Would you take down the Joker, Green Goblin, or Freddy Krueger, Art the Clown from Terrifier in a fight? So basically, you only got a baseball bat to protect you. Which one? Okay, so with a baseball bat, which one of these guys would I take down? Not taking down Green Goblin. He's physically stronger than any normal human, and he's got too much tech. He'd roast me with a pumpkin bomb. Art the Clown's actually kind of a coward when he's getting his ass kicked, so I could probably beat Art the Clown. Freddy Krueger, as long as I get him in the real world, I have no problem with there. Joker is problematic if he's armed. If he's not armed, I should be able to take him. Even though he can be a bit of a problem in a hand-to-hand fight occasionally, I should be able to take him. All right, then. Chris Dash, one of, looks like 7. Have you ever seen Fan Battle? I have not. What is your opinion about Daredevil Born Again TV series? I liked it. I thought it was a really good return to form. They really did carry over from the Netflix pretty well. I love seeing John Bernthal back. The ending was a bit more of just setup than an actual coherent ending that led into season 2, but that's whatever. The only thing that kind of grinded my gears a little bit was Heather, but and that's the thing, she didn't start out bad. And she ended up bad, but she didn't start out bad. But it was, weirdly enough, it was natural to see her progression. Although, again, the whole I saved me line, I'm like, girl, no. But to be fair, she's clearly traumatized by that event, so I can kind of understand it. All right, what is your opinion about the one under Doom comics here? I don't know what that is. Sorry, I don't have an opinion. Do you think Pennywise's deadlights could affect Wolverine? Probably. He's a living human. Yeah, he's seen some shit, though, so maybe it wouldn't affect him as much as others, but he has been susceptible to mind control before, so... Do you think Pennywise's deadlights could affect Mordecai and Rigby? Probably not, because they've just seen so much in their world. Do you think the deadlights could affect Daredevil? He doesn't have eyes. He can't... Oh, sorry, he doesn't have eyes. He doesn't have sight. He couldn't see it, so no. Could the deadlights affect Spider-Man? Yes. Nothing says he couldn't. Again, he's human. He's seen a lot, but yeah. And could they affect Captain America? Again, yeah, probably. All right, then. I always have a problem with him. Kynareth the Demon. What's that? Please get the reference. Of course I get the reference, dude. I am's back with a couple I think are interesting. 1 of 4. Sorry, 5. How do you feel about Skyrim? I like Skyrim. I never played it, but it was popular when it was popular. 4. If Magneto can magnetize any metal, it's nothing. I mean, he can magnetize it. It's more than he manipulates metal. Why doesn't he just rip your iron out of your blood? He can do that. He has done that before. He's just not a monster, is the thing. He is a man driven by a goal and to protect his people, but he's not a monster. If Sasuke got Itachi's eyes, why didn't he use Tsukuyomi? Because he didn't? Okay, this is a misconception. Tsukuyomi wasn't transferred. The Amaterasu was implanted in that eye, and I believe it's implied that he does unlock Amaterasu as well, because he's blood related to Itachi. But each eye has a different ability. Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu were Itachi's. Now, but the thing is that that's not quite how that worked. In fact, he didn't actually even implant his eye in Sasuke, because he didn't have an Eternal Mangekyo at that point. In the Eternal Mangekyo doesn't give you the abilities, although that would be busted if it did, of the other user of the Mangekyo. What it does is allow you not to lose your sight, I think enhance your chakra as well, and gives you a perfect Susanoo. Sasuke had Kurotsuchi, which manipulates Amaterasu, and Amaterasu as his activated as his Mangekyo abilities. It's just that Itachi triggered Amaterasu to activate in Sasuke's eye the minute he saw Obito's Sharingan. That's why he doesn't have Tsukuyomi, because he doesn't have it. 2, why won't you do Segunda? Okay, you were the one who asked this. A Segunda Etapa for your resurrection videos. Okay, the reason I'm not going to do that is because I don't know what it would really add. Yeah, I don't, because I'm not an artist, at least not for this. So I'm not like drawing designs. So you're already not getting a design. And second, the only Segunda Etapa we ever saw was Ulquiorra's. And to be honest, the only thing he actually showed that was different from his standard resurrection was the lance. That's all it was. Otherwise, I mean, in theory, you could make the argument he could have probably done a smaller version of that in his resurrection. Seeing as he can already do the energy lances anyway. So that's why you won't be seeing that, because there's really no point. There's no confirmation of how much more powerful and what extra abilities you get from it. If you get the memories from Shadow Clones, how in the world did Naruto not notice the hundreds before? Because Naruto's a little dense and writing. Kishimoto hadn't created that up until part 2. And Naruto literally was just spamming clones and not paying attention. If he had been paying attention, sure, he would have noticed it, but he wasn't. So that's most likely why. And maybe he did realize things that the clones realized without knowing it. But regardless, Surilicious, also, hey Clockwork, Sir Hammerlock here. I changed my username. Okay. Your advice from April 2024 Q&A helped me a lot. Well, thank you. I wish I could remember that, but I'm glad it helped. Still in high school, of course. Oh, well, yeah, we'll all get out of there eventually, for better or worse. All right, and you were the last one of the day, 1 of 8. 1, do you think, who do you think is the better MC, main character, and which do you prefer, Naruto Uzumaki or Izuku Midoriya? Naruto, Izuku is too meek for my taste. And as much as I can deal with it as an anime fan, I've heard people I like who tried watching the series, like YouTubers, quit the series because they couldn't stand how much he cried. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree. I don't like the fact he's always constantly crying in the beginning. But I'm glad he matures up later on, all that. But no, I prefer Naruto. His struggle makes a lot more sense, too. Midoriya, I don't have a quirk, but I want to be a hero. Here's a quirk. Yay! Whereas Naruto, I don't have parents. People hate me for some reason, but I'm going to show them. I'm going to be Hokage, they'll respect me. My friend almost died. Now I'm going to be Hokage to protect the people who are close to me. Much better character. Yes, Naruto can be obnoxious, and so can Midoriya, but in a different way. But I'll take Naruto over Midoriya. 2, do you think Naruto should have used the sword in canon? Should he have? There was really no logical way to make him a swordsman. Unfortunately, there just wasn't. Now we've seen like in the Naruto, Boruto movie, or Naruto, Boruto, whatever that was, where they fought Momoshiki, when he got a hold of Sasuke's sword, he was good with a blade. So, would I like to have seen him with a sword? Yes. Should he have had a sword? I don't know. I don't think he should have had a sword, but that's my opinion. 3, do you think sorry. Wait a minute. 1, 2, sorry. 3, in the sports festival, Izuku and Chunin exams. If the sports festival and Chunin exams Naruto switch places, do you think their respective groups would say about them? Rookie 9 for Izuku and Class 1A Naruto. What would they say about them? Naruto, the kid's a little young for Naruto. It's really stupid, but how the hell is he able to span that many clones? What the hell? Mind you, Chunin exams Naruto. He does not have Rasengan or Gamabuncha summoning at this point, but he could access the Fox Chakra if he really needed to. As for Izuku, they'd say the kid's out of his depth, but damn, can he hit hard? That's the one problem, though. He'd end up breaking his body pretty quick and probably wouldn't win the fight. 4, do you think Naruto was right for still supporting Sasuke even after he joined Akatsuki? Do you think he should have let the past go? See, this is the conundrum that we face with this type of choice in Naruto. Sasuke probably should not have been redeemed. Honestly, his path should have gone the way of Shigaraki, where he acknowledged he effed up, but he still needed to make amends, and maybe he dies or whatever. But was he right for still supporting him? Should he have just let it go, the past go, and kind of just said, Sasuke, no, I can't do this, or you're the enemy? No, I don't think so, because that defeats the point of who Naruto is. That really negates it, I think. So no. Do I think Naruto could pick up Thor's Mjolnir for Thor's hammer? Ooh, that's a good question. Because the true requirements are a little nebulous. They change a little bit. Usually you have to have like a bit of a warrior's heart. Not be pure of heart, but a warrior's heart, but be a good person. Superman has been able to pick it up. Do we think Naruto falls in the same camp as person as Superman? I mean, even just really good people like Hawkeye couldn't pick it up. I don't know. I really don't know. It's a really good question. I would say probably not, but who knows? Do you think Naruto could snap the Infinity Gauntlet? Yeah. And come out scared? Yeah, I do. If we're talking about the MCU Infinity Gauntlet, maybe not. Kurama could maybe offset that power to some degree, but probably not. Because Tony and even Bruce couldn't snap without issue. Even Thanos, for all his power, could not snap it without injuring himself. But the regular Infinity Gauntlet in Marvel? Yeah, because that's not a matter of power. That's just a matter of having the glove and snapping it. So, yeah. What's something that bugged you about Naruto in canon? What are 3 changes you would have made to his character? His level of idiocy. Honestly, how dense he is. So, and because of that, what I would change, what would I change about his to make his character more, if anything? I would have him not be a genius, but be just more socially aware. Be probably aware that he not had a thing for him. Just be aware of that. Be aware that be aware that Sakura just loses crush on Sakura. He can have it early, lose it maybe midway, and then lean towards Hinata. Or at least someone else. So there's that and that. And just have a better idea of the world in general. Like, understand who the Kage actually are. Like, what? That still bugged the hell out of me. All right, then. And final, my voice is starting to go. Final question of the day of this Q&A until our next one in June. Are Anakin, Naruto, and Izuku more similar than they are different, or more different than they are similar? Because, okay. By the way, thank you for answering my questions. Loving the Naruto Resurrection series. Grimjaw is one of my favorites, faves, so no brainer. Absolutely glad you're enjoying it. I will upload that video after I'm done with this, by the way. Are they more similar than they are different? Okay, let's figure out what the similarities are. They're both kind of chosen ones, but 2 are from more birth, because being the Azura Path reincarnation and the chosen one, Izuku just becomes the chosen one with one for all. But you can say chosen ones, okay. But Naruto and Izuku are better people than Anakin, because Anakin is arguably the most is definitely the most irrational and arguably the most immature, just because he jumps immediately to genocide and agreeing to kill the Jedi just to save his wife. Unfortunately, no. I think there's just way too many differences among them than there are similarities, personally. And that, my friends, will wrap up the Q&A. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I will see you folks for the next one. Have a good one.